and welcome to Be Awesome Together. I actually managed to do that correctly. There must be cheers someplace. I just don't know where. So I am joined tonight with TV's Travis, and we're going to talk about all the things because he's been doing this such a long time. So welcome, Travis.
Oh, hi. Thanks for having me.
You're the first one in our new house.
Well, I feel honored.
Well, I'm excited to be here. I am still figuring out my lighting. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Leia may make an appearance. If I scream, it's because her claws did instead. Travis has a dog who unfortunately is too big for his lap. Otherwise, I would be all over having the dog on screen.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to check and make sure that we're actually live places, as Miss Cause always makes sure that we are. Are you live on all the things? I think we are. I hit all the buttons, but sometimes the buttons don't work. So we're going to check. I'm reasonably sure that we're on Twitch. I hope we're on YouTube and Facebook, but who knows? It's like the mysteries of life. Oh, and I just had the rock god of podcasting tell me that I should be. So we'll see.
All right.
Well, welcome. So we know each other from Dragon Con, as many of us find our ways there. Tell everybody a little bit about you, and I want to learn something new.
All right. So I got started podcasting officially in 2019. I did my first episode of my show, Wait You Haven't Seen, in March of 2019. And since then, I have done 380 episodes in about 382 weeks, I think, is at my last count.
Oh, my gosh.
I have a problem with not missing time. So I started with one show. It's expanded to many. I think a couple are on summer break, but I have 5 shows in current production.
5?
So yeah, I have my flagship show is Wait You Haven't Seen, which you have been on, and it is a movie discussion podcast.
Love Wait You Haven't Seen.
I have so much fun with it. I learn new things all the time. The conversations are always new. It's so much fun. You're always a different person every time you see a movie. And
that's true.
And you also can't always recapture the first experience of seeing a movie, but it's great to talk about a first experience seeing a movie. And so that's kind of how that whole show started. But since then I did a show on Highlander.
Which I love. I'm a huge Highlander fan.
That was a ton of fun. We had to retire that show because we ran out of Highlander projects to watch.
Darn it, but there could be more.
There is a non-zero chance of a special episode for anybody that's still connected to the feed when the new Highlander movie comes out.
Very
Audie
good.
and I have already talked about that. I also do classic television. Basically, we put the cutoff date at like 2000. Anything before that, technically we could go 20 years, and sometimes we go with like something in 01, 02, or if a show bridged the gap. But basically, we would like to talk about classic TV, the stuff that the 4 of us grew up on. And that's awesome. With our good friend Audie Norman, Stephen Adams, and Amy Frost. And we have so much fun with that show. We pick a different topic, and then we do 4 episodes, each one of us hosting, talking about an episode of a different show. So the last ones we did before we took our summer break was cop shows.
Oh, what was yours?
I chose, what did I choose? Wasn't the commish? Or maybe it was.
Ooh.
Because we did the commish. We did, there was an animated show from the early 90s called Cops, which was completely unrelated to the Fox television show Cops. This was one of those half-hour toy commercials type of deal.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we've done that. I've been doing a different movie-related show called 24 FPS Presents. It's a terrible name, but we have fun with it. But that is Stephen Adams and I. And what we do is we pick a subject and we do about a dozen episodes at a stretch on that. So the first one we did was we watched all of the Fast and Furious movies. Because together we had only ever seen the first one. And so we were like, let's go through and watch them all. So we watched all 10 movies plus Hobbs and Shaw.
That one's great.
And that was a blast because those movies got crazy.
Yes. They're my husband's, I think, favorite outside of Star Wars.
It is quite the series of movies. That is for sure. But we did that. We did we've done 3 seasons now. We did a season on James Bond. It
Oh, what?
was
So,
fun.
so
Um,
who's your Bond?
I mean, it's hard, right? Because the first James Bond that I ever watched was Sean Connery.
Me too.
But I grew up in the era, like the first Bond I saw in theaters was Pierce Brosnan.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
started, the first Bond that came out when I was old enough to go see it was GoldenEye. Because I was just a little bit too young to see License to Kill when it came out. But, and then I love Daniel Craig, but I also, those 2 Timothy Dalton movies are really good. Because he's great. And Roger Moore is good. There's nothing wrong with
Oh,
him.
I love Roger.
I like Roger Moore a lot. I think his Bond movies are on my lower tier. And it's only because the other ones I like so much more. Like if you put on a James Bond movie, I'm going to watch it. I don't care.
Oh, me too. 100%.
But I did get a new appreciation for On Her Majesty's Secret Service, rewatching it for that show.
I think that's the only one I haven't seen.
It's actually a pretty good movie. Lazenby, because he wasn't Sean Connery, it just wasn't fair to him. I think the movie itself is pretty
That's
solid.
true.
Plus, it's got Telly Savalas in it. How do you not like that?
Truth.
Come on.
But I think you're right. I think having to compete with Connery and be the first one after him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to be the one that follows the legend, right?
No, because he
You want to,
is.
and Connery was such an icon already by that point.
Yeah.
But no, doing all the James Bond movies was great.
That is so many. That's not 12 episodes, sir.
So what we did, and was kind of fun because we're like, well, we want to talk James Bond, but we're not going to do 30 episodes for a season. It was just too much to do.
Right.
So we took and we used Rotten Tomatoes as our guide, and we picked each actor that played James Bond, and we took the highest and lowest rated versions or movies
okay.
from that actor and watched those. Right. So, and it was only the mainline Bond movies. So the Never Say Never Again, the Sean Connery one from like 82 or 83, that wasn't on our list.
Okay.
So it was just the official Eon Productions James Bond movies, and we called it The Good, the Bad, the Bond. So it worked out perfect because we had 2 Sean Connerys, 2 Roger Moores. There were only 2 Timothy Dalton movies, so we watched both of those. Brosnan, Daniel Craig, and then 1 George Lazenby. So it ended up being 11 episodes that season. What's really fun about watching those, and a thing that we noticed going through it, was James Bond movies are a time capsule of action filmmaking in their time. And you saw the progression and the change in style of action films through the decades.
No, that's 100%.
Yeah, like, Roger Moore, again, love Roger Moore. The man couldn't kick anything. Like his fighting style was to not be able to really kick very well. So like fight choreography for his movies, and then you look at stuff with Daniel Craig, and it's not a fair comparison because they're just completely different styles of filmmaking. But it was cool to see. It was neat. It was also neat how another cool thing that I never paid attention to until I got older, early James Bond movies are like travelogues. There's a lot of scenes in those movies of just James Bond showing up a place and walking around through Egypt, through North Africa, through Venice, wherever the location
Where he
is.
was.
And when you think about it, that makes sense, right? Because travel wouldn't have been as prominent for your average person in the 60s and 70s. You
Right.
just couldn't afford to travel as much. So films were your escape, your ability to go out and travel. And so they wanted to show off these exotic locations. And it's a little bit easier. There's a lot more media that goes to different places now.
Right.
Back then you had movies and you had TV shows, and TV shows didn't do that. Most TV shows were shot on sound stages, unless it was Magnum PI. So you didn't get to see these exotic locations the way that you can nowadays. So I think that was a big selling point to watching a James Bond movie, was to see the cool locations that they would send him to.
That's true.
That was kind of a neat thing to discover.
I think that like for me, one of the things about Bond is that the Bond girls have always been strong women. Like when you
Yeah.
get down to it, you can always find strong
think-
women, regardless of the decade, that were great representations.
Yeah, some better than others, for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you have some of the names, especially that Ian Fleming would come up with, were
Some aged better than others.
was it Plenty O'Toole was a great one. Dr. Holly Goodhead was quite the name.
Yeah, no,
You know.
he there were some names that we might not choose today, but
No, probably not.
but all the and I loved when Judi Dench.
Oh, Judi Dench as M, perfect. That was just
Yes.
perfect casting, and she made it through, multiple James Bonds. Like she was there from
Yes.
Brosnan all the way through, and she's amazing.
Yeah, hands down, she's a
but-
lovely lady.
I just like to talk movies and entertainment and media, and like storytelling is the big thing for me. And so that's what got me into the podcasting, because I grew up listening to talk radio and radio dramas and books on tape. Like I was the kid. I had a lot of music that I listened to, but I also would go to the library, get books on tape, and take cassette tapes of books with me on road trips when we go places. And I listened to a lot of talk radio and sports on, listening to the Detroit Tigers late at night, and Coast to Coast AM was a big one for me for a long time. I don't know if you've ever listened to that, but it was,
I haven't.
so Coast to Coast AM was overnight talk radio on AM, usually AM stations.
Okay.
And the first host that I ever listened to, and I think he's the one that created it, was Art Bell. And it was paranormal, supernatural, conspiracy theories. It was all the weird stuff you'd listen to in the middle of the night, right? They'd have Bigfoot stuff. They would talk about
perfect.
The Kennedy assassination, or government conspiracies, or the moon, or
It was
space,
the History
or ghosts.
Channel before we had the History Channel.
Kind of, yeah. And Art Bell eventually would retire, and it got taken over by a gentleman named George Norrie. And I think George Norrie might still be doing it today. I'm not sure. But that was the thing that I listened to as a kid. And then when I got old enough and I started doing jobs working overnight, I would have Coast to Coast AM on all the time.
Coast to
and-
goodness. Now I'm going to have to find out more.
Yeah, it's great. Every year for Halloween, he would do Ghost to Ghost AM. And it would just be all ghost stories for like 4 hours. And it would be call-ins. He would have a lot of call-in episodes, and he would bring on people. So it was a great show. But that was a big thing that I listened to, and it just got me wanting to like talk and tell stories and listen to stories. And so that's what, between that and movies as a kid growing up, I wanted to be a filmmaker when I was younger.
Okay.
And I was going to go to film school. I could never afford it. There wasn't a lot of, where I grew up, there wasn't really a film industry. We had one person in town that made movies at all, and I never was able to get in with that. So you said you wanted to learn something you didn't know.
Yes. Well, that was one thing I didn't know.
So I did, however, have a sketch comedy show on our local public access channel for a little while.
That's awesome.
It got started in high school. We started with like, hey, we're going to do a film project for this thing. And in fact, the first one we did, we called Welcome to the Jungle, and it was about the food chain for our science class.
Oh,
And we did zero research whatsoever, and we made a short film that was a kind of a series of sketches. And that got us, we're like, hey, this is kind of fun. So the next time we had a chance to do a video project, we did that, and it would just snowball. And then we started doing stuff outside of class. And eventually, after we all graduated high school, I had gone off to college. It didn't work out. I came home, and we started doing sketch comedy. Just for there was a local access channel. They didn't care what we did.
local access was the start of so many things.
Oh yeah, I mean it was YouTube before YouTube, and in fact,
sure.
I honestly believe had we all been about 10 years younger, we would have been right on that first wave of YouTube, because so we started making the show was called Jerrytown.
Jerry.
And we took the name from, have you ever seen a movie called PCU with
I
Jeremy
have
Piven?
not.
Okay. So PCU was a mid-90s college comedy.
Okay.
It's very kind of National Lampoon's Animal House type of thing. It was basically this kid's visiting a school, and the thing with the movie is that this Port Chester University has outlawed fraternities and sororities, and it has the nickname of Politically Correct University.
Okay.
And so everything's getting, you can't have fraternities and sororities because they're constantly getting picketed by other groups on campus. And one group, you'll have the group of vegans would be protesting having sloppy joes in the lunch hall, in the in the dining hall. Meanwhile, someone over here, it's like everything's being protested.
Gotcha.
And there was there were still fraternities and sororities. They just couldn't call them that. And one of the groups in that movie was a bunch of stoners, and they were the Jerrytown. And they were all deadheads.
Okay.
And they wore tie-dye, and they played ultimate frisbee. And we just thought they were a fun group. And so we named our show Jerrytown. And we did that. We started that in 2000, 2001, something like that. And we ran it until about 07.
Oh, that's a long run.
But we would do a couple of episodes, like somewhere between 2 and 4 episodes a year, because we all worked. We could only get together once a week. So we had zero budget. We had a Sony Handycam and, 8mm camera and whatever lighting happened to be in the room at the time. So some of the stuff looks pretty rough.
I was doing whatever lighting was in the room when I started this, so we're good.
Yeah. But it was great fun. We would get together. We would film. Eventually, like 4 of us lived together for a little while, and so that house became like the
filming
main
house.
Yeah, the filming house. And so we did that for a while. But again, if we had been 10 years younger, we would have been starting that in
YouTube
08, and YouTube would have been a big thing, and we could have maybe gone beyond just the cable access. But we would. We would debut new episodes, and we would go down to one of the local bars and hang out there, and they would show the episode for us.
That's cool.
So that was kind of fun. One of my favorite stories was early on. We would edit at the cable channel was inside the local library, and they had an editing station, and so we would be in there working on the stuff. And at one point, we were in there. We were editing something, and we had dropped an F-bomb, and while recording, so we were trying to cover it up. We were trying to censor it out. And the guy that was working, his name was Mike, and Mike's like, "What you guys doing?" "Oh, we're just trying to censor, And he's like, "You guys are on at 11 o'clock. Who cares? As long as you're not showing any nudity, no one cares. Like FCC's not going to care." We looked at each other and we were like, "Man, he shouldn't have told us that." Like that was a mistake. And so we just had fun after. Like we just went for it. And we would do sketches like the Legacy of the Three Stooges was one we did, where we did a bunch of Three Stooges gags.
Oh my gosh.
But much more like what would really happen.
Oh.
So it got very like tons of cartoonish levels of fake blood and stuff everywhere.
Yeah, how we're still breathing is amazing.
Yeah. We did some great ones for that. We did we did a Halloween episode, and everything was Halloween themed, and we filmed it all and then put it out in black and white. So it was a lot of fun. I miss doing that. There were times where it was really difficult because we would clash on certain things, or it would just somebody had a long week and they were being difficult to work with, or we couldn't come up with an idea.
Right.
So I understand when I see comedy troupes that eventually stop working together, because you do something for long enough with the same group of people, and eventually you're just at each other's throats.
No, it's true. Well, I just want to say a shout out to a couple of people. Our station Boo is here, and she loves all things scary. And you also have a show called Gore, I think?
Yes.
So just saying, she also loves movies and all the things that are spooky. And a Groove has dropped in, our dear friend from the track and
Yeah.
outside the track. So he's saying hi. And my fellow professor at KSU, Venter, is in the house. We're going to have some fun at Dragon Con together on a panel, so I can't wait.
Oh, excellent.
Yes,
Yeah.
and Earth Station Boo said we might just need to have you on.
Well, I would love to. Gore is the one. So a couple of the shows that I'm on, I don't do the production. I'm just on, and Gore is one of those.
Oh, that's nice. How do you get that?
My friend Monica, the Wicked Kitten, she wanted to start a horror podcast and asked me to be a part of it. So Gore, we do primarily horror movies, but we also talk books, video games, things like that. As we pick a movie every episode, and we watch that and we talk about it. But we also talk about like what books we're reading, what games we're playing, because one of our hosts, Dud Dreadlord Wesley, he's a big gamer, and so he'll play a lot of spooky games. I play a lot of horror themed games, especially in the fall. I tend to like those.
That makes sense. At least you're seasonally appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find links to all his shows at tvstravis.com, by the way.
That's right. Thank you. I am not good at promoting myself, so I need help with that. I can talk forever. It's just the hey, remember, go to my website thing I'm bad at. So
It's hard.
But no, I just love stories and storytelling, and no one style either. That's why I love doing the horror movie one or the movie podcast with Steven where we pick a different topic. But then Wait You Haven't Seen is nice because I get a breadth of so many things. Like in the last few weeks, I've talked about so many different movies.
I love that show because it's just like nostalgia. Like I have such a heart for like 60s, 70s television because I grew up watching that on TV Land. And when it was regular, like I love Dragnet. I learned so many things off of Dragnet.
Yeah,
it's not even funny.
And Wait You Haven't Seen, what's fun about that is the different movies that I get. Either I get somebody that's come on that hasn't seen a particular movie, or I have friends and guests that will bring a movie to me. They're like, you have to watch this. This is great, or something. So like the last few weeks alone, I've watched Moon with Sam Rockwell for the first time.
Ooh.
I've done Nobody 2 with Bob Odenkirk, which was a lot of fun. I went back and did like a few episodes ago with Singing in the Rain.
Oh. I love those kind of musicals.
Yeah. My friend Hammond brought me a movie that I had not heard of before called The Amazing Mr. Blunden, which was a mid-70s British movie that was not anything that I expected. I didn't know what to expect from it, but it was an interesting movie. So it's like I get all these different just random things that I never would have watched, or I get to show somebody a movie that I love, like my friend Joe Hood. I got him to watch Hellboy with Ron Perlman.
Okay.
He had not seen it, and I was like, well, we're fixing that. So
yeah, no, that needed to be fixed for sure.
Yeah. Anytime I can show a Guillermo del Toro film to someone, I will.
You know, we all got our things. I'm trying to find my computer has decided not to like me right now. Earth Station Boo, by the way, just did a history of horror video games episode with
nice.
Twitch streamers. So I was trying to find their link. Here's TV Travis's in the chat. That will go right there. Bettner agrees with you. Shocker.
Look, Del Toro, I like weird. I am a big fan of weird. Be weird, be weirder. So Del Toro, I've gotten, in the last number of years, I've really gotten into David Lynch. You know, if you go more horror side, David Cronenberg gets really weird. His can be sometimes difficult. If you can't do body horror, I don't recommend Cronenberg, but if you can, it's worth it. But like, you know, I saw, now younger me didn't appreciate somebody like David Lynch, but as I've gotten older, I've started to. And so I saw, you know, things like Mulholland Drive is amazing. It's a fantastic movie. I know when that movie came out, I wouldn't have understood or appreciated what he was doing with it. But as I've gotten older and I've learned that, like, oh, he was just making fun of stuff. but in like a Lynchian way. Like if you go back and watch Twin Peaks, it's just a primetime soap opera.
Oh yeah, no.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
But it's so perfect.
I have to agree with Ventnor here. I have a complex relationship with horror. I have a hi. Would you like to talk to my husband about that?
Horror is, because the nature of horror is to make you uncomfortable.
Yes.
It's a difficult one sometimes. It has a higher barrier to entry than other things. And that's not to say that other genres don't also want to make you uncomfortable, right? Dramas can do that too, but they do it in such a different way. Horror viscerally wants to make you uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, no, they want you to feel it in your veins. And
I went and saw Obsession earlier this year, and I don't know if you've heard of that one or not, but there's a movie. It's a small independent horror movie that made ridiculous amounts of money. I think the budget was under $1 million for this movie.
Okay.
And it's made a couple of $100 million. Like one of the most profitable films in terms of budget to box office ever. That movie was deeply uncomfortable in portions of it, both in sort of an uncanny valley, visceral way, and then subject matter. And it was one that stayed with me after I got done watching it. And I love that because I heard this quote a while back. It's a paraphrase, but I liked the quote. I think it was actually Jake Gyllenhaal mentioning it because I was watching something about Donnie Darko, which is another one that's very weird and all that. But he said that his dad had told him at one point, I'm paraphrasing it now, but it was, art should comfort the disturbed and disturb the comfortable. And
that's interesting.
I really like that thought process because you can really apply that to any art form, whether it be film, a book, a video game, music. And I don't think all art should do that. I do think that there are ways to have like pop art and bubblegum stuff and like popcorn movies. There's nothing wrong with that, but I do think everything has layers and gradients to it, right? So
it's true.
Masters of the Universe, the He-Man movie that came out this summer. That's surface level popcorn silliness.
Oh yeah, of course.
Loved every second of it. The Odyssey, I just went and saw last weekend. Whole other end of the spectrum. Christopher Nolan, very self-serious. Both of them were a ton of fun. So
Odyssey is on my list. So I have to say that I am kind of like Vintner in this. She says, I have friends who will pre-screen things for me. I even look at the website, does the dog die?
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm not going, if you know what happens.
Yep.
So I'm that girl.
I have friends that are like that, and I jump on those grenades for friends of mine. I will watch something and I will be like, yep, this is safe for you. Or if I know certain things are difficult for friends of mine to see, I will make sure and tell them ahead of time.
Awesome.
There's also if you like horror, but you or are interested in the horror genre, but maybe don't want to necessarily watch the movie, there is a wonderful podcast out there from the makers of Night Vale called Random Number Generator Horror Podcast Number 9.
Okay.
And what they do is they randomly select a movie each week by dice roll, and they talk about it. But they do it in a way. Jeffrey, the one host, is the newbie to horror when they started the podcast. He wasn't a big fan of it. He's grown to appreciate horror movies more, but he gives the movie an approachability number on a scale of 1 to 10.
I like that.
And the other host is a big time horror fan. So he talks about it in terms of like, where does this fit as a horror movie and as a movie? But they'll break everything down. They'll tell you about it. They'll tell you if it gets very violent or very bloody or not. And it's a great podcast. So I have a friend that will listen to that in lieu of watching a movie, but it will also let her know if she maybe could watch the movie or not.
Yep. No, that's me too. Tell me the name of the podcast one more time.
It is Random Number Generator Horror Podcast Number 9.
Okay, that's a lot.
It is a lot.
Random Number Generator Horror Podcast Number 9.
Yep. If you look for random horror 9, you'll probably find.
Probably get it. I do agree with what Groove said. Nothing is wrong with junk food every so often. I'm all about junk food these days
Absolutely.
because I need all the cozy I can get with the craziness going on in real life.
Yeah,
Just be honest there.
sometimes you want that escape to just be like, I'm going to turn my brain off and I'm going to just watch something dumb.
There was a reason we love the A-Team. I'm just saying,
Exactly.
you know, it's there's something about just suspending disbelief
Yeah.
and enjoying things for what they are. I'm reading Dungeon Crawler Carl right now with my hubby. We're listening to the audio podcast, not the audio podcast, the audio book. Everything's a podcast in my world.
Right.
And surface level, like particularly the first book, it's, you know, your typical lit RPG, which I don't really enjoy a lot, but I do enjoy the audiobooks on these. And it, after you get through that first book, it's not a simple lit RPG. It's a commentary on many, many things.
It's fun that way, right? Like,
Yes.
And what I love is good art will work on many levels.
Yeah.
So Star Trek is a good example.
Oh,
of
yes.
You can just enjoy Star Trek for the sci-fi nature of it and being on a ship and lasers and aliens and all of that. But
Yes.
it's got deeper meanings to a lot of stuff, and it's got things and messages that they want to tell you. And you can dive into those. That's one of the things I love about film in general is, and art in general is like, it's what you want it to be,
Yeah.
which is why sometimes it gets misinterpreted and taken the wrong way.
Also true. I mean, as who said this? I forget. But when I think it was a musician said, you know, you write it and then you release it and then you kind of have to let go of it.
Yeah.
Because people are going to have different interpretations of what your art is saying from what you actually created it from.
Yeah.
And Earth Station Boo says it's all about your perception. And since we come from different points of views, we can look at the same piece of art and see completely different things.
Yep. And that's one of the beauties of art, is that it can mean something different to everyone. And why another thing I've grown to really appreciate are artists that do just let it go and let it live and be a thing. That was a thing Lynch was always good about.
Yeah.
Somebody would ask him about something and he's like, well, I don't know. What do you think? A quote that I have beaten into the ground, but I'm going to do it one more time because
Let's
it's
do
too
it.
good. I love watching The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. It was sadly the show is wrapping up. It was Joe Bob goes all the way back to Monster Vision on TNT back in the 90s.
Right.
He would watch movies and they would be the late night movies and stuff like that. Well, The Last Drive-In was him on Shudder, the streaming service, horror streaming service.
Okay.
And so they would watch these horror kind of drive-in movies, but he would also bring filmmakers and actors and people on and chat with them in between. So during breaks in the movie, they would
like the
they would
intermission
talk.
time.
Yeah. So he would talk to, it might be Eli Roth, it might be Roger Corman he had on a couple times, all this stuff. Well, he had
Nice.
Phil Tippett on. And Phil Tippett, if you don't know him, is a model maker, puppeteer, stop motion type guy. He worked on all the way back on Star Wars and
Okay.
stuff like that. And he helped create Go Motion, which is what they used on Empire Strikes Back for the AT-AT walkers.
Oh, yes, yes,
That's
yes.
stop motion that also had motion blur built in. And Phil Tippett made a movie a couple years ago called Mad God. And it was a movie that he had been working on, I think he said for off and on for 20 years.
Darn.
And it was all stop motion. And there's no dialogue in the entirety of the movie. It's all just stop motion, mute characters, music, and sound effects.
Okay.
And Joe Bob's got him on. He's talking about it. And this was the best answer to a question in an interview I've ever heard. Joe Bob says, all right, Phil, what is Mad God about? And Phil Tippett looks at him. He waits a beat. He goes, well, it's about 85 minutes long. And that was it. That was his answer. He wasn't going to give him any more than that.
It's like, nice try, dude.
And it was perfect because it is a weird movie. And it's open to your interpretation of what is going on because it's just I love stuff like that. And that was just such a perfect, it reminded me of David Lynch. It reminded me of like these fun, weird, out there artists. Just, yeah, it's whatever you want it to be.
Which is
You
cool
figure
when-
that out. You answer that for me.
When you can let it go and let it be that. I think it's hard, especially if it's something that is continual, like it's a series or it's a series of movies or whatever, because then you're still creating it at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I think it's harder then, but definitely over time. And you just gave me a very delightful flashback in a way to watching late night television as a kid. Because you're right, it's when all the weird stuff was on.
Yeah.
You know, I vaguely,
USA Up All Night.
yes, USA Up All Night. For us here in Georgia, TBS,
Yep.
which would play just the weirdest stuff, shall we say.
Mm-hmm.
You just never knew what you were going to discover and then never be able to find again.
Yeah. Yep.
it's just-
Exactly that.
Truth. And I would sneak downstairs and see TV shows I shouldn't, like Maude.
Right.
Maude was awesome, but I was not old enough to understand Maude. But I liked it. I knew that.
Oh, yeah.
But it was a different time and a different place. And Groove said, no, or Station Boo said, the good stuff is always the most hidden of things. And I think that can be really, really true. It's those gems that we find. So you've been obviously watched so much television and so many movies. Do you have a gem that surprised you that you keep going back to and saying, yeah, that one was nothing like I thought it would be, but I really love it?
There are a few, and a lot of them came through in episodes of Wait You Haven't Seen. One in particular was my friend Miles is a big time. He likes to bring me the weird stuff. He likes to bring me the things that are, and in fact, at the time that we watched this, I had to watch the movie on archive.org.
Oh, okay. Oh,
because-
bless archive.org.
Yes. He had a physical copy of it. I could not find it anywhere. But it is a Japanese film called Fish Story.
Okay.
And it is a roughly, I'm going to find because
It's called
I will,
Fish.
Fish Story is from 2009. It's a Japanese film. And here's the log line on it. Several seemingly unrelated but surprisingly intertwined tales reveal how a Japanese band that independently invented punk rock in 1975 is, 37 years later, connected to a comet that is about to destroy the world.
Okay.
That doesn't begin to explain what this movie is about because it's got several stories that it tells throughout time, starting with this band in 1975 that were a Japanese punk band, effectively, at like the beginning of punk. But there's also present day, a comet is about to hit Earth. And you get stories from like 10 years earlier. And it's impossible for me to explain what this movie is. But I had this moment about 2/3 of the way through it where my brain just clicked in and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Okay.
It also had one of the most punk rock moments that I've ever seen.
I
So
love a good punk rock moment.
the thing starts out present day and somebody's buying the album for this group. And they have this song, and in the middle of the song, there's like 45 seconds of just silence on the track.
Okay.
And these urban legends have been told about what happened. Like somebody broke into the studio while they were recording it and shot someone, and all this kind of like these crazy urban legends that built around this 45 seconds of silence that was in this track in the song. In the final act of the movie, you learn the story behind what happened there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so perfect. And it's so punk rock and it's so much fun. And I don't want to spoil it because it was such a cool reveal. But they had this moment with the band sitting in a noodle shop. And I was like, that is the most punk rock thing ever.
That is awesome.
And it stuck with me. Plus the song itself that the guy wrote for the movie is a great song.
Okay.
And I love fake bands, right? I love the bands that are created for a thing.
For something. What's
those
even more
always-
fun is when you create them and then they actually say, what the hell? Let's really be this, you
Yeah,
know?
like Spinal Tap.
Yes, let's just
They
do
make
this.
they make the movie and then they put out a couple albums.
Completely makes sense. I'm trying to figure out where you guys can watch Fish Story. I do not know where, but I did link the IMBD for anybody who's interested. I'm sure it's playing somewhere, but I'm not sure where.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
If anybody finds it, let us know.
But that was one of those. I mean, in terms of like just checking out a movie and being blown away by how good it was, I went and saw Everything Everywhere All at Once
Yes.
because I saw the trailer for it and I was like, I like Michelle Yeoh, and I have the Stubbs rewards from AMC where I pay a monthly fee and I can just go to 4 movies a week.
Yes, that makes
I was like,
complete sense for you.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll go check this out. Why not? And I was blown away by that movie. That movie was so much better than I even thought it could be. And it was just a whim of like, yeah, this looks interesting. I'll have fun with that. But it was not only fun, it was deep. It had things to say and it had wonderful performances. And that was one that I didn't expect. I didn't expect it to be that good.
Understand. We were Fabers, who are part of the ESO network. Mike and I and his wife and my husband went to go see a movie where we were out on the longest yard sale. If nobody's done that, it's the first full weekend in August, and it runs from like Alabama to Canada. We
Okay.
do not do all of that. We just pick a section every year, and it's basically just a big yard sale. And there'll be professional, junk sellers as well as people in their front yards. It's awesome. But we went to go see Bullet Train,
Oh, that's fun.
and we were not expecting it to be worth. We thought, okay, well, we got nothing else better to do. Mike needs to see this movie because he's reviewing it.
Sure.
Let's go. It was awesome.
That is a movie that knows what it wants to be and
Yes.
it leans hard into it.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay
Absolutely.
with, just having fun. Like, we have a friend who he's former military and a former cop, and he'll critique the crop thing. And I'm like, just stop. It's not reality. Okay.
Yeah.
You can tell me afterwards how it's wrong. But right now we're just going to watch it.
Yeah,
Or
absolutely.
I'm gonna commit murder, and we don't want that.
No.
So-
No, that is one of those movies that was really fun. Another one that sometimes I'll watch a movie that has a lot of hype around it, and I miss it for whatever reason. I don't see it for a little while, and then I do. And like I saw Robert Eggers' The Witch.
Okay.
That was better than I thought, than I really thought it was going to be.
I love it
And-
when movies do that.
And I heard that it was great. And that movie just made me want to watch Ralph Ineson read a phone book. Like that man's voice is amazing.
I get that. There are many people who could just read a phone book, and I'd just be completely happy.
Yep. I remember making that comment too. I took a class in college on sci-fi and fantasy fiction writing.
Oh my gosh, I did too. Well, not fiction writing, but fiction reading, science fiction reading.
So it was great because that class it was 3 hours every week, and the first bit would be discussion, and the second half would be watching or listening to something sci-fi, fantasy, horror related.
Nice.
And one of the early ones we did, we listened to. I want to say it was War of the Worlds, maybe. And even then, I made the comment to the professor. I was like, I would listen to Orson Welles just like read a cookbook. Like he's just everything. That was one. Citizen Kane.
Oh,
That I mean, it,
okay.
it's cliche, right? It's on everybody's top 10 lists of filmmakers and film lists and all of that. And it's the greatest movie ever made. And watching that for the first time, I was like, yeah, it's better than you'd think. And then you have to think about the fact that like Orson Welles was in his early 20s or mid 20s when he made that. And it was the movie that broke the mold and stopped being just stage productions. And it really went in a new direction. And it gave us depth of field and moving cameras and crane shots and all of these things. It was one of the first movies to do that. And the narrative and the way it was structured. And I love seeing stuff like that.
No, I think I love when you just can get in there and you experience something completely different. And oftentimes it's through somebody using a camera lens completely different or taking a shot that's not like anybody has before. Vintner says, I require my podcast students to listen to War of the Worlds. It's amazing. And I agree. It's such, like, there's just something about audio drama that I grew up on. Like, my dad and I would listen to The Shadow. And there's
Okay.
just something.
So I got to tell you about this then, because you will love this.
Okay,
So
I'm ready.
last fall, I saw a tutorial video, and I decided I would do the project. And so what I did was I went rummaging. I actually ended up at an antique store and found an old radio. And it was an old, like Bakelite plastic radio, tube radio, and the tubes didn't work.
Right.
The speaker was good, but none of the internals worked. So I took and I ripped out all the tubes. I kept the speaker, and I bought a little MP3 player board and an amplifier, and I wired everything together. And so the MP3 player will just play whatever is on the micro SD card that it has. You put it in there. If it has power, it will just play from first to last. And then when it gets to the last thing, it will cycle back and start over.
Okay.
And so I wired everything up. The amplifier was to turn it on, off. And I'm using air quotes around that because it doesn't actually turn off the MP3 player. It just turns off the speaker.
Gotcha.
And I loaded that up with Coast to Coast AM episodes, with I found on archive.org like 200 and something epissodes of The Shadow. I found an old radio thing called The 0 Hour, which was hosted by Rod Serling, and it was in the 70s, and they were just radio dramas. They were like hour-long radio dramas. A thing called The Haunting Hour, which were, I want to say 50s, 60s era, like kind of supernatural radio dramas. I pulled audio out of the Alan Wake video games from the radio show that you could listen to during that. Because in that game, if you found a radio and turned it on, you'd hear Pat Maine Radio.
Oh.
And it was a fictional radio program, very, very Art Bell Coast to Coast AM style thing. And they had all of that recorded. So I found all of those and I downloaded them, and I loaded them and programmed all of that in. And so I have this radio. When I go to bed at night, I turn my radio on, and it's wherever in the list it happens to be at that moment will be playing. And I fall asleep to that.
Oh, that's cool.
And so when I turn it off, it's still playing in the background. So so it's like an actual radio. I never know what's going to be playing when I turn it on. So it might be, and I took some songs and threw them in there too, like some Warren Zevon, and I had some like spooky songs that I would put in as like little interstitials. But it's a lot of, I've listened to so much of The Shadow in the last like 6 months.
Oh yeah,
and I love it. I love it so much.
I love a good sleep story. I have to have one to go to sleep. 100%.
I will say, getting a very loud Rod Serling in your ear at 2:30 in the morning out of nowhere can be a little jarring.
Yeah, no.
But it's super fun.
I can do it for a little while, but then it goes to ocean sounds, and usually by then I'm already in bed and asleep, and the lulling voices have done their work to send me off to dreamland. But I love the whole concept of it because that's got to look so cool.
Oh, it's great. I took the radio apart and I repainted it, and so it's like a dark black, like metallic black with like a dark green accent to it, and the light from the MP3 player shines through it at one part. So
very sexy.
It's super fun. And the thing that I love is like radio dramas, to kind of get back to like the different styles of art, are such a different experience from watching a TV show or a movie, right? Where a movie or a television show, it's a visual medium. So, but you listen to an old radio drama, they have to tell you everything that's going on. And so the dialogue is going to be different.
Yes.
And even if it's a fully, performed and has all the sound effects and everything, you still, so much of it is theater of the mind, and you have to fill in the blanks. So they have to be very expressive in what they say. So it's just totally different to listen to versus the dialogue in a film.
Well, and to have the sound cues as well,
Yep.
all the foley that goes into
I
creating
love
that.
I love all of that.
Oh, me too. Sound Booth Theater is a group of performers that do that kind of full spectrum radio recordings. They have a bunch of ones up at soundbooth.com, soundboothstudios.com, I think. And that's where they're re recording Dungeon Crawler Carl with an entire cast with sound effects. And it's.
Oh, that's cool.
Yes. I listened to like the first parts of the first episode, and it was really good because I really love audio drama. And so to get all that folio going on and all the sound stuff is just like, and the second book has a lot of trains in it.
Oh, nice.
So
that is something I want to get more involved in and do more of, is fully produced audio and audio drama.
Yes.
Beyond, like, I love doing talking head podcasts. And the nice thing about those is I can do that. I've gotten very good at doing that and doing this kind of a thing, but I love audiobooks, audio drama, whether it's a single voice audiobook or a fully produced audio drama. I love all of that kind of stuff. And I have some projects that I'm slowly working on that I want to create in that space as well. But I also would love to get involved. I've done, we only ended up doing, I think, 2 episodes of it, but it was an audio drama that somebody had written. And then they came to me and they're like, hey, I would like you to play this role. It was a Star Wars fan fiction.
Oh, that's right. Last year we had talked about this
Yeah.
at Dragon.
And just getting approached and like, hey, I want you to play this Jedi in my fan fiction audio drama was amazing. And I want to do more of that.
Yeah, no.
Well, if you know anybody out there is casting.
Groove is an editor who might be down for these things. And if you need a female voice, I'm there because I have wanted to try voice acting for a while. So if you're out there, we need you. Come join the community.
Yes, please.
And I agree. There are some really cool audio dramas that are out there, both old-fashioned ones and new ones.
Yeah.
There's a Dragon. There's the Atlanta Radio Theater performs every year and does a play. So that's always cool. And I think there's also one that's done at, I want to say Conjuration or Stellar Fest here in Atlanta. That's where I know all my stuff. Oh, I see a puppy in the background.
Yep.
I'm going to have to not look. Need to find a writer. Yes, I do write. I could do that. Anybody want to talk cozy fantasies? I got some stuff. Actually, I have some stuff that might do better on audio dramas. So we'll chat down the line when I have 3 seconds.
Speaking of cozy.
Yes.
So I know some people that do cozy horror.
Oh.
So
that I might
it
do.
is it began life as a horror podcast. They are in their 9th season.
Oh my gosh.
And it's called Aquillow. And it was created by 2 of my friends, JF Dubois and Amy Frost. JF wrote it, Amy produces it and performs it. And it was created specifically because Amy is a self-professed horror ninny. But she likes horror. She loves like Halloween and witches and
Oh yeah,
and
100%.
all that kind of stuff. She can't do horror. JF is a horror writer, so he specifically wrote this story with Amy in mind, and she reads it, and it is phenomenal. So the basics of the story is that a young girl from Montreal finds out that her great-grandaunt passed away and left her a cafe at this little village of Aquillow, which sits on the border of the U.S. and Canada.
Oh my.
And by on the border, I mean the border runs through the middle of the cafe.
Cafe. There's a store or a library that has that in real
And
life.
what happens is she gets there, finds out about this, and then finds out that her grandaunt was also a witch that fought demons.
As we are.
And so they have 9 seasons of the show is in its 9th season right now.
Oh my gosh.
But season 1 just released as a novel this year,
Yay.
just in June. They've been
Okay.
doing the book tours, and you can get it at Inkshares or any book outlet that you want. I've seen it at some of the local, like even small bookstores here.
Oh, that's wonderful. So tell me the name one more time.
Aquillow, ACHE Willow. And aquillow.com is the website for it. And I think aquillow.com/book will take you to where you can get a
There we
copy of the
go.
book.
I got it. Gonna link it in our chat. It's on Earth Station Boo's Spotify list, which tells me
Excellent.
it's gonna be good. Let me link that right here for everybody. And I can do cozy horror too. I mean, I'm definitely all
And they
over
do.
that.
They have raccoons.
Oh, that's so cute.
There's a group of immortal raccoons that hang out behind the cafe
Oh my gosh.
in it. And when I backed their book, so I am now officially a citizen of the village of Aquillow.
Oh, that's nice. And they're not going to kill you because it's a cozy, and we don't kill the people that we like. Like
Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Sure.
Okay. We're just
Why
going to
not?
let Tyra have her fantasies.
We'll,
Okay.
we'll just go with
works.
that.
I mean, it is horror, so there we go.
Oh yes, you would love it, Benter. You would.
So we're gonna all go find these things. I've got Fish Story up on IMDb, and if it's on Apple TV, I'm down. I'm gonna go find Ash Willow, and archive.org. I just want to say is amazing resources. If you're looking for old stuff, you can definitely find it there. And we kind of brushed over it, but Travis mentioned his local library where he was editing stuff. Local libraries are super cool, and they
Yes.
have current equipment. So do not forget to go look at your local library. And also, Vintner also threw her production stuff out as well. So I think you, me, Groove, and some others should get our stuff on at some point. There's a Dragon Con.
Absolutely.
We should talk.
Yes.
I love that if it's spooky and it's kooky, we're down for it.
That's right.
You see, that was the kind like Adam's Family.
Oh, I grew up with Adam's Family.
Right, absolutely. And the monsters.
It's funny to go back because we
Monsters.
did an episode of Adam's Family for Those Were the Days, and it was so fun to go back. But all of us were of the age where I watched Adam's Family before the first movie with Raul Julia and Angelica Houston.
100%.
I had seen it before that. But if I think of Gomez and Morticia Addams, I think of Raul Julia and Angelica Houston because that movie.
Oh, do you?
That movie was such a seminal thing for me.
I get
At
that.
that age. And I mean, relationship goals. I want a relationship with somebody like those two had.
Oh my gosh.
The thing with the Addams
were
Family
awesome.
that I loved so much is the family loved each other.
Yes. And mom and dad were absolutely positively madly in love with each other.
Yes, 100%.
And we need that. I think we need to see healthy parental relationships.
Yeah, the Munsters was the same way, right? The Munsters
Yes.
was a great dynamic with the family and how they all got along. And I love both of those. The Addams Family was great. I also, have you ever seen pictures of the Addams Family set in color from the old TV show?
I don't think I have.
One of the coolest things is search around online for old black and white TV shows, but find pictures of their sets in color
Color, I will.
because they're garish. They're bright color.
Oh, because to make the contrast of the black and white.
Yeah. So the Addams Family set is all sorts of just blues and pinks and bright colors all over the place. And it looks so much different than you would think.
Because they're playing with color theory, but in a different way.
Yeah.
And so many people, like Venter said, she grew up with the Addams, but not the Munsters. The Munsters were a little bit older, I think.
They actually debuted a week apart
Did they really?
on TV. Yeah.
So,
So the Addams Family was a comic strip, and then they made the show, and the
Yeah.
Munsters, and it was a week or a month apart from when those shows debuted.
So Groove said it was horrifyingly pink. So now I've got to go find it because I love pink, but I don't like horrifyingly pink. And I think this is true also, Groove said. The Addams Family were the most functional family of all film. Yes. I mean, they just loved each other and accepted each other's authentic selves, which I
Yep.
think is amazing, and we should all strive for that.
Oh, absolutely.
So I do. We're coming up at the end of our hour, but I have a question because you and I have, I'm not going to say an obsession, but a love in common, particularly probably different kinds of love, but who knows? I am a Highlander fan, huge Highlander fan. Saw the original movie. I adore Adrian Paul, and I know what you're going to talk about, and I'm going to be extremely jealous. My heart still speaks to you for some reason. I don't really know why. But what about Highlander got you to do a podcast about it? And then second off, what's your favorite Highlander season or episode or any of that? Tell me why.
Okay, so I got into Highlander. I remember seeing the first movie, and it was just such a fun fantasy adventure. And I was fascinated by the idea of immortals living amongst us, but in secret, and there being a small number of them. And it was just this cool world. And it felt, watching that movie, it felt like there's so much more to this world than just what we saw here. And then the series came out, and I remember the series when I was very young, because I think it debuted in 92. And
So,
I didn't watch it in its first run very much.
okay.
And it was no other reason than I just didn't know much about it, because the series came out and then I saw the movie. But I remember seeing the series on TV. Like, I'd be at a friend's house and my friend's mom would have the TV on and Highlander would be on. I think she had a thing for Adrian Paul.
As many of
Which-
never mind.
I don't blame her. So, but I got into it, and then later on, I rediscovered the series, and I sat down and watched it. And they took that world that I thought was really fascinating, and they built on it. So the idea of immortality and what that can do to somebody. So when the podcast was born out of, I just wanted to talk about these stories with somebody, and Audie Norman, who's a very good friend of mine, also big fan of Highlander. And so we went through episode by episode, but the fun thing was to talk about like what it would be like to live for 400 years, for 500 years, for 2,000 years, and the things you would go through. And they would have an episode where, somebody would be trapped for hundreds of years, or there was an immortal that was basically trapped in a river for a couple of hundred years, and just what that would do to somebody, because he basically would die and be reborn, come
Constantly.
back over and over and over and
again.
over, or being stuck somewhere where you couldn't get out and you can't die. Or another one where, this character ended up becoming a big drug addict, and it stemmed out of the fact that he was a great sword fighter and he became so good nobody could beat him. And he was just alive, and it started to weigh on him. And so then he started drinking and he started doing drugs as just a way to cope with like what his existence was, because nobody could defeat him. And it was always fascinating stories of humanity, but in a way that that were different from just a hero's journey.
Yeah.
And that's what I really, really, really loved about it, and I latched on, and I got to meet Adrian Paul.
I know you did. So how was he? Tell me.
It's phenomenal. He's great.
Okay, good,
It was.
good. I want to hear that.
I was in Scotland for a week on a tour of locations that they had filmed in. So the series filmed in Vancouver, Canada, and Paris,
Yep.
France. But they did film one episode in Scotland. And so we went to locations they shot at, and that was a lot of fun. And we went to locations they used in the movies as well. And just getting to chat with Adrian Paul and, hear some behind the scenes stuff, or like there's one scene that they shot where he's riding a horse, and he's supposed to ride it towards the water, but stop at some point. And they were going to be doing a helicopter shot coming over. And he asked the horse wrangler if the horse was going to do okay with the helicopter. And the guy was like, guess we're going to find out. Spoiler alert, the horse didn't like the helicopter a whole lot. And
Good times.
It took, according to Adrian, it took everything he had not to end up riding the horse into the sea. Because that horse did not want to have anything to do with that helicopter.
The horse was like, "Excuse me, we don't approve."
Yeah,
At all.
but it was an amazing experience. He was very gracious, very talkative. He
wonderful.
loved talking just storytelling and filmmaking. He's a director.
Yeah.
He's also still in phenomenal shape, because we did sword training every day on the tour as well.
Oh my gosh.
And we did sword training, and we learned choreography, and then we shot he shot video of us doing the movements and the choreography in front of Island Donnan Castle. And it was super fun because we were getting ready to go do that part, and he goes, "Okay, so we're here. Everybody has their tickets, are paid for to go check out the castle. We're going to go do our thing. They close up at 5:00. Afterwards, everybody meet up. We're going to go over here. We're going to film. We haven't asked about filming. We're just going to do it. And if they ask us to leave, we'll leave."
Right.
And so
Good
we
times.
went. We checked the castle out, which was amazing. And afterwards, we went over. We started filming, and they did not ask us to leave. In fact, we had a crowd watching us at one point.
Oh.
It was super fun. And I did interview him for the final episode of the Highlander podcast. I chatted with him for a little bit. I went back and listened to it not too long ago, and I must have been dealing with like a fever or something because I caught a cold like the last day of the tour.
Oh no.
So I sound awful. But he was great. He was absolutely, they always say, don't meet your heroes, don't meet this and that. No, he's one of the ones that was totally worth meeting. I adored him, and it was so much fun.
Oh, that does my heart good. Yay.
As far as a favorite, by the way, you were asking about that.
I am.
The series has, in season 4, I believe, 4 or 5, there is a 2-parter. So my favorite character in all of the series is Mythos.
Oh.
The 5,000-year-old man,
I love Mythos.
the oldest immortal. And the reason I liked him, Peter Wingfield played the character so amazingly. And it was such a fun character because he was 5,000 years old. To get to that age, you have to be a survivor.
Yeah.
And that made him very morally ambiguous, which made him interesting and complex because he was a good person, but he was capable of doing some not so good things because otherwise he wouldn't have lived for 5,000 years.
Right. There's definitely a line. His episodes were definitely some of the most
season 5.
thought-provoking. Season
So
5.
it was season 5, episodes 11 and 12. It was Comes a Horseman and Revelation 6-8.
Yes.
So it's great. It's my favorite of the series because it's mythos-centered, but you learn a bit of his backstory. He was one of the 4 horsemen during the Bronze Age. And they just they pillaged and plundered and killed and all this kind of stuff. And there's a particular moment, I believe it's in the second episode in Revelation 6-8. There's a particular scene between Peter Wingfield and Adrian Paul where it's some of the best just acting I've ever seen between 2 characters. It's phenomenal. And it's just the 2 of them talking, standing next to a Jeep Cherokee. And that's the whole scene. But it is so good.
And they had great chemistry.
They did. Absolutely did.
As a bro love, it was really good. My favorite character outside of, I love both of them, but was Joe.
Oh, Joe's great. Joe was so much fun. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I fell in love with Jim Burns and his music and his soul and just a good guy with a crazy story.
Oh, yeah.
Of how he ended up with no legs. And I just appreciated him and ended up falling in love with his music, and I still listen to it all the time. So I think that's one of the underappreciated things in Highlander stuff is the music that kind of runs through it all.
So, cool story about the music.
Yes.
Because of my friend Hammond Chamberlain, I got to interview Roger Ballon, who did the music for Highlander, the series. He was the composer for the whole series. A thing I did not know until I was talking with him. The music, so television, music tends to have motifs, and you write a theme, you write themes for characters, you do that throughout it. Every episode of Highlander had music written specifically for it.
Yes.
All of the music. And he talked about that being both the best and worst thing about it. Because creatively, it was a lot of fun, right? Because he got to do something new all the time. But he also had to do something new all the time. And they would send him footage, and then he would have to compose and record and send back. And it was tight turnarounds and all that kind of stuff. But I love that about that series because there was this wonderful mix of Roger's music and then anything licensed that they would throw in there. And there was a lot of crossover with rock stars going all the way back to the first movie.
Yeah.
And I love that where you had like Joan Jett on an episode, or you would have
Yes. Oh my
Martin
gosh.
Kemp from the Spandau Ballet was in an episode, and Roland Gift from Fine Young Cannibals had a recurring role. And so it was a lot of fun to see that and the music that they would throw in there. So yeah, I loved all of that stuff. And you're right, the music was huge. That was why this was another of the best interviews I've seen was with Christopher Lambert. And this was probably 10, 15 years ago. Because they've been talking about a Highlander remake for 20 years.
Who Wants to Live Forever? The possibility of a sequel.
Yeah. I mean, they literally were talking about a remake of Highlander before the last Highlander film came out, which was 2006, I think, 2007. But it was an interview with him, and somebody asked him about the idea of a remake of Highlander. And he's like, hey, I think it's a great idea. I think they should do it. He said the hardest thing for that is finding their version of Queen. Because part of what made that first movie work so well, it's a good story, but it's a very simple story, right? And they made the characters interesting. They had two things going for them that set that movie apart in 1986. Number one was the director, Russell Mulcahy.
Yeah.
He was a music video director.
Right. Duran.
Yep. He had a style that was very different from other films at the time.
Right.
We've seen it now. It's old hat. If you've never seen Highlander and you go back and you watch it, you're like, I don't understand what's so cool about this. But you have to put it in the context of 1986 and what movies were like. So he's one, and then the other was Queen.
Yeah.
Queen doing basically their album, A Kind of Magic, is the soundtrack for that movie. And it takes it to another level.
It does. And it's internally, like you hear Who Wants to Live Forever, and you instinctively think Highlander.
Yep.
And Queen.
Oh, yeah. Who Wants to Live Forever? Princes of the Universe.
Yes. Oh,
I mean, everything about that is so good. So it was that wonderful mixture of that first Highlander movie was just striking while the iron's hot and lightning in a bottle. It really was. It was everything coming together. You had
absolutely.
Lambert was magnetic on screen, and he had a weird. Yeah. You get Sean Connery. You put Mr. Krabs in there as your villain. You know, Clancy Brown.
Yes.
Doing one of the great all-time villains. It bums me out that he apparently did not get paid very well for that movie because he was a young actor at the time. He has great things to say about the movie. He doesn't have great things to say about the producers of the movie. But Clancy Brown is just one of the great villains, and just everything. And it really created something unique, and I love it.
It's going to live forever, one way or another.
So if I have any say.
Well, I'm going to go back and watch Highlander again because of you, but I'm also going to be watching National Treasure, I think is what we're watching.
Yes.
No, yes. So I'm very excited. You can catch me on... crap, my brain just lost. I'm sitting here. It's not that one, Tyra. You have so many that my brain just froze.
Possibly too many.
Wait, you haven't seen.
That's right. It'll be Wait You Haven't Seen, and it is... so we're 2 weeks away from kicking off my 8th annual Cageapalooza, which is the entire month of August. Yes. I dedicate to Nicolas Cage. Why? Because I love Nicolas Cage. Why August? Because I chose August the first year, and I just do it now.
It's got Leo the Lion, and he fits that. Let's go with that.
Yeah. So it's all Nick Cage movies, and I talk to you, and we're gonna watch National Treasure, and I can't wait because you haven't seen this.
I've seen it, but I've only seen it in parts. I've never actually seen it from beginning to end.
Perfect.
In one sitting. So I'm very excited. My husband is super excited because it's one of his favorite movies, and I hear there's a sequel, and I've also only seen it in bits and pieces. So I am super excited, and I love Nick Cage. And all the movies that I hadn't seen that I wanted to see were taken. So, by the way,
I've done a few. He has a lot
has.
of movies, but
Oh my
I have
gosh.
covered 35 movies of his so far for my show.
That's a lot. How many episodes of Wait You Haven't Seen?
So this Sunday will be episode 381.
That's amazing. So as we close out tonight, I want to know, what's your advice to be so blastedly consistent?
Pure spite and the inability to know how to say no.
Oh, well, I got that last one down. So we're solid on that.
Yeah. Honestly, it was. I have the advantage of I live alone. I don't have kids or anything to deal with, so I can set my own schedule pretty
Okay.
well. But really, it's just I enjoy doing it, and as long as I enjoy doing it, it's easy to make it into a routine and do it.
It's true.
So enjoy your movies or your TV shows or your music, whatever it is that you do. Like it, and just like it with your whole chest. Go for it. You want to, it doesn't matter what that is. Do it, and who cares if nobody else does?
Absolutely. I mean, most of the time, you're not going to see those people again anyway,
That's right.
and you shouldn't let other people steal your joy.
Exactly.
So, or your rabbit that you bought as a stuffed animal while you were on vacation that your cat has made off with.
Oh, that's the cat's toy now.
Wait. No, she doesn't play with them. She
Oh.
just puts them someplace else.
I'm just going to put this somewhere
I'm
safe for
put
you.
this here in the middle of the stairs. So this is my rabbit.
Aw, look at that.
I know, and she's got cute little feet. But so yeah, love what you love, and don't let anybody tell you not to.
Exactly.
And if it's illegal, don't get caught, please. So
Also true.
So we're going to let you know that, again, TV Stravis, you can find all of his stuff on his website. There's Gore, there's Highlander. Tell them all your shows really fast.
Oh, I've got Wait You Haven't Seen. There is Let's Watch Highlander, which has been retired, but all of it's there.
Yes.
Gore, Those Were the Days. 24 FPS Presents, which is movies. And the most recent one is Lost Luggage, I'm a part of. I am watching the series Lost for the first time.
Ooh.
We have two veterans that have watched the series more than once, and two of us, myself and Phil Keating, are watching it for the very first time. We have, in recording, I think our 12th episode is about to come out. So we're doing episode by episode, and we're following along. We're asking the questions, whoa, what's happening here? What's going on with this person? Well, I have a fun thing I do where I have an odd superpower where I recognize actors, and sometimes from the most obscure thing.
Okay.
And so every episode, just about, I can find somebody that isn't a part of the main cast where I'm like, hey, I know that person from this thing. And it's always fun to figure those out. Sometimes it's the most random, obscure, how the hell did you recognize that person? And other times it's a fairly obvious one, but I still, I might recognize them from something different from someone else. So that's a lot of fun.
So, fun fact, I have not watched Lost before.
Before starting this podcast, I had seen exactly one episode of Lost, and it was the finale.
I see. Oh, that's...
And I had no idea what was going on.
Good times.
It was 12 or 15 years ago or whatever, shortly
Oh, yeah.
after it had aired, and I remember nothing about it. So
Oh, well, that's good. So, you can also find me and my stuff at tyraburton.com, because I believe in owning a website, as we've talked about numerous times. But more importantly, if you want to find Be Awesome Together, go to our link tree. But we're going to have a website soon. Not sure when it's going to happen, but in the next, let's say, month. That seems like a good time. And if you want to be on here, please drop me a line. You can go to Linktree. We have our email address there, or just let me know, because we're looking for people to be on the show between now and DragonCon specifically, that we need people. So be like Travis and come on the show. So check us out there. And this episode will be on our podcast, replay on YouTube in about probably the next couple of days, now that I'm actually home for a little bit of time. We always like it when we actually get to go home for a bit before we go to Dragon. And you're going to be at DragonCon this year, of course.
yes, I am. Absolutely. You'll see me. Just find, I would say the tall guy with a beard, but that's like 30 to 45% of Dragon Con. So
Yes. Yes.
look for mismatched Chuck Taylors. That helps.
That's it. And I think you're doing Wait You Haven't Seen at
I
DragonCon?
am. Yep.
So there.
So I'll be doing the show there. We're going to do some live games for those with the days as well. So
Oh,
that'll be fun. Some retro TV games, trivia,
nice.
stuff like that.
So tune in.
yeah. Yeah.
Be
tune
Awesome
in.
Together
Come
is
find me.
going Be Awesome Together is also going to be live at DragonCon with Leanne Lord. I am super excited. We're
Oh,
going to talk
excellent.
about how comedy and laughter can get you through the hard times. So, Travis, thanks.
Thank you.
I had a blast. I hope all of you had a blast. I love you guys. Boo, Scott, Vetner, Devo, you're not here, but I know you're going to listen to the replay. I love you and missed you, man. And Vetner is just hyperventilating because she's got so much cosplay to do. But you can find her in the digital media track as well. So y'all take care, and I will see you next time on Be Awesome Together. Bye, guys.
Bye bye.